Okay, so we're going to start off with personal safety. So personal safety, very, very important. All right. So when you are walking around, what do you think you should be doing when you're walking around? What do you think? Yes, way in the back. Yeah, great answer. All right. Now, if I was walking around like this, you can see there's a problem with that, right? I am not paying attention. So think about the three little pigs, right? You don't want to be the house made of straw, okay? You don't want to be an easy victim because that's all criminals are looking for. We're not dealing with criminal masterminds here for the most part. So they're looking for someone who's not paying attention, who's going to give them the least amount of trouble if they try to take something from them. And you'll see how this also applies when it comes to your house. So like my partner here, when he's off duty and he's walking around, he's not wearing any of his mink coats or any of his jewelry. So I mean, you should be able to wear what you want in this day and age, but that's not the reality, unfortunately. So think about where you're going, what you're doing, and do you need to show off all of that wealth you might have? Do you need to wear that gold chain to go to the mall, to go shopping, right? Because doing that, you're opening yourself out to someone being like, oh, that looks like something I might want, right? And sadly, you kind of want to pass them off to someone else. So be aware of your surroundings. Keep your head up. I'm not saying you have to stare down people when you're walking by, right? But don't have your head buried down. Just casually look up, look around, because if I am going to take advantage of you, do I want you seeing my face? Do I want you having a good look at me? No, of course not, right? So if I'm like, hey, that person's looked at me too long, forget it. I need to go find that other person who isn't paying attention. We all have that spidey sense in us. You know when something is wrong, right? If something doesn't feel right, then listen to that voice. So for example, when I'm walking down the street at night and one side is full of stores and one side is full of houses, which side do you think I would walk on? Yeah, I'm going to walk on the store side because it's going to be better lit and they're going to have cameras. And if there's something that I don't like, I can just go into one of the stores. I'm going to be looking down the street. I'm not going to be looking 2 steps ahead of me. I'm going to be looking down the street. And if something that just doesn't sit right with me, I'm going to either go into one of the shops or I could cross the street, right? So being alert is going to save you a lot of headaches. Choose well-lit routes. You don't want to be, I don't even know if there's alleyways in Ancaster, but stay on the main routes. Stay on routes that you know. And one of my favorite sayings is like, you need to have a plan, all right? No matter where you are, you got to have a plan. I have a plan right now. If you guys started fighting, what am I going to do, right? You look like that type of crowd. So failing to plan is planning to fail. So when you are out somewhere, think about if this happened, if that happened, what would I do? What is my plan here? So in our extensive training that we get, we always have a plan. No matter what room where we're going, what scene we're going to, what kind of call we're going to. It can be something as minor as neighbors arguing over property lines to something more severe. I always have a plan all the time. So I would encourage you to start coming up with that. All right. Okay. So just to be clear here, personal protection does not include bear spray or firearms or anything like that. Okay. Personal protection is, something that can draw attention. So my partner, he carries several whistles with him when he's out. Self-defense training. Are you allowed to defend yourself? What do you think? But are you going to be held accountable for the consequences? Absolutely. So if my friend right here decided that he wanted to come and punch me, can I throw him to the ground and kick him in the head? What do you think? No, of course not. I'm going to be in a lot of trouble for that. So self-defense is you are allowed to use the force that is reasonable and necessary to get away from the situation, not to stay there and assert your dominance and start breaking arms and breaking legs. But the best defense is a good offense. So preventing yourself from getting into these situations is what's going to help you the most. If you can, walk with a buddy. So I see a lot of young people in here. So I don't know if you're still working or not, but I know sometimes people are wary about going to their vehicles after work at night, especially in the wintertime because it gets dark so early. Again, if you can, walk with a buddy. There's safety in numbers. Again, people are looking for easy targets. So the more people you're with, the safer you're going to be.
So when you're walking with a buddy, if you are, when it gets dark earlier and earlier, also, like my partner said, have a plan. When you park your vehicle in a parking lot, reverse your park your vehicle so that your door is in the front and you're not going to the back of the vehicle. Take these little steps that would help you. Park in well-lit areas. Don't park way in the back of a parking lot if you can do so. Like, take these little things that you can do to make sure that when you're coming back to your house, or back to your vehicle, it's a little bit safer to do so. And if you are still working, coordinate with somebody else. Say, hey, we're going to be leaving together, and make that a routine that you all park at the same spot and go back to the same location instead of having to walk by yourself when you're doing that. My partner kind of touched on this already, hiding valuables out of sight. Now, we're not saying don't wear your jewelry ever and don't display any of these things that you have. It's more, we're giving you layers. We're going to give you a bunch of different things you can do to prevent yourself from becoming a target. Now, how many of these you want to take into consideration when you're going on your day-to-day, that's really up to you. What makes you feel the safest? But we're going to give you a bunch of layers as we keep moving forward. Backpacks, zipped up, purses on you at all times. So we're going to be touching on that when it comes to purses, when it comes to distraction thefts. The whole idea is minimizing your chance of becoming a target. I know it sounds silly, but you're trying to have them move on from yourself. Now, the goal is everybody does the same thing. We hide our stuff, and we walk in buddy system stuff so that people move on and they realize that this neighborhood, whatever neighborhood you're in, nobody's an easy target there, and they move on. But that is the goal. But obviously not everybody's gonna be taking the same steps, but the hope is that everybody takes these preventative measures to make themselves not become victimized in the future. What to do in emergencies: having your numbers memorized, having a phone. Having the phone on you sometimes even prevents. You don't have to be staring at it, but having it up. My partner actually uses this in his day to day. There you go. How do you use it?
Yeah. Okay. So this is something I actually do. Like when I'm not working, I'm pretty antisocial. So I have a shared driveway, and my neighbor loves to talk. So sometimes he's in his front yard, and I pull up, can't avoid him. So I pretend to get on the phone when I'm getting out of my car. I'm like, yeah, ma, and then give him the wave and go inside. So this is a technique that you can actually use. Again, if there's something that's not sitting right with you and you just hold that phone up to your ear, what's on the other end of this phone? Yeah, there's a witness, right? Again, I'm not going to want to attack someone when they're on the phone with someone, because that's just another person that can call 911, right? So it can be a prop. And I know someone's going to be like, well, what if they want your phone? Well, if they want your phone, they're going to take it whether it's out or not. But for the most part, it can be a very, very handy tip.
Our counselor touched on this a little bit there, reporting suspicious behavior and to local authorities. We need you guys to report these incidents or any suspicious behavior you do see, because as you report them, we send our resources into those areas. They call them hotspots. But yeah, we send our resources into those spots as we realize that more and more suspicious activities happening there. Speaking on suspicious behavior, yeah, trust your gut. We've touched on this. Like, a lot of this stuff is going to be repetitive. We all know this stuff, but the idea is bringing it to your forefront of your brain and remembering these things and utilizing them in your day-to-day basis. We all know the steps we need to take, but sometimes we lax on them and we start pushing some of them behind and forget to do some of these things to keep ourselves safe.
A lot of this is for show. So CPTED stands for Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. Has anyone actually heard of CPTED before, by the way? All right, Councillor at the back. So you would be surprised. This is used in designing schools. It's there's someone in the city of Hamilton that like this is their full-time job when designing parks and walkways. It's actually used in everything. And there's some topics here that we're going to touch on it. Some of it's going to apply, some of it may not apply. But so one of the core things about SEPTED is the broken window theory. And I'll condense that for the young eyes in the crowd at the back. Basically means that if you let your property get into disrepair and graffiti piles up, it's going to attract unwanted people and activity. If people see something where it's like, I don't think this person cares about their property, then I shouldn't care either. So for example, does it look like anyone cares or takes ownership of that property there? No, of course not, right? So what kind of crowd do you think that property might attract? Yeah, probably not your Ancaster crowd. So the idea is to not let this happen, right? Because one broken window turns into two, turns into three, et cetera, et cetera. And this is something that, we, the police, we get trained in. So there's several of us that are trained in SEPTED because when we're out patrolling, we don't want to just be responding to crime. We want to try to proactively stop crime. So we actually offer SEPTED audits on businesses and residences. So if anyone here ever wanted an audit, you could get in touch with the Hamilton Police, and we have 2 retired officers that do these audits. So obviously on the left, that's the before, and you have the after. Now, which one do you think is safer? Right, why though? Why? What can you tell me about that picture? It's maintained, but if I was a criminal and I wanted to lay in wait, right, I have a great hiding spot right there. Whereas, again, now that you've had this world-class presentation, when you're walking and you have your heads up and you're looking down on the right side, you can see anyone laying in wait. Now, if I was a person that wanted to do harm, this is now a bad spot for me to hang out because I can't get any victims. Now, do you notice anything else different? Pathway's been extended. And if you look to the left, just muddy grass, and now this is my actually favorite term, it's called hostile shrubbery, right? Like it doesn't feel too good to stand in that. Now, why would that be important? I know you can't really see it. It's not really in the shot, but there's a window on this house. So on the picture on the left, anyone can just go walk in there and stand there and look in your window. Whereas now you use some pretty looking plants because no one wants to have bars and gates all around their property all the time. So you can actually use plants in the environment to shape it, to make it less desirable, right? Send them to that house made of sticks and straw. So natural surveillance is just what can you see? Like right now, think about your house. If you look out your front window, can you see your vehicle? Can you see around your vehicle? Can you see the street? Do you have shrubs, plants, trees, anything overgrown blocking your sight lines? If you can, maybe you might want to trim it back. So very, very simple things here. Is your property lit up? Do you have, what kind of lights do you have? Are they on a timer? Are they always on? How bright are they? Do you have the clear sight lines? What kind of landscaping do you have? Do you have that hostile shrubbery? Very important is, why would I have a sign that says beware of dog if I don't have a dog? Yeah, it's a deterrent. Not simply for the fact, like I'm not posting that I have like a giant dog, because I do love wiener dogs. It can be any kind of dog, because a dog barks, it makes noise. Again, if I'm going up to a house and they have a sticker that says ADT security, beware of dog, they've got lights on, they've got clear sight lines, maybe this isn't the house for me, right? There's too much risk here for me. I'm going to move on to the house that has low risk. So this is what I'm talking about. That's the same house, if you can believe it. So not only can the people in that house not see out, but neighbors. Does anyone here have nosy neighbors at all? Yeah? If you're not putting your hand up, maybe you are that neighbor, right? Nosy neighbors are good because they know what's going on in the neighborhood. They know what's out of place, what should be there, what shouldn't be there sometimes. So if somebody was on your porch trying to get into your house in that top photo, is anyone going to know? Of course not. But you keep it tidy there, someone's going to know. Someone's going to see that. And again, that's going to act as a deterrent for me when I'm looking at potential targets. Again, another little example here. Again, just trimming down those shrubs. I think it looks even nicer. Now, on the right side, with your newfound wisdom on septed, can anyone see anything that might be a problem there? Yes, exactly. So those are rocks. So I know people love decorative rocks, but those are weapons of opportunity. You've just left someone something now to smash a window to break into your car, or smash a window to get inside of your house, or just to vandalize your property. You've left it right there for them. So I would suggest, getting something else to put there instead of the rocks. Again, it applies to businesses. You see it all the time. Convenience stores, they have posters and advertisements all along their windows, but they can't see who's coming in, and it could create problems. And again, passerbys can't see what's going on inside of the shop. All those yellow concrete things, they're called bowlers. It's to stop vehicles from driving in to the store. So you're going to want to use fences, walkways, but landscaping to sort of create a path. For some reason, we inherently tend to follow rules. Like when I came in here, I didn't walk around the side. I didn't weave up and down the rows. I came right down the middle because that was the path provided for me. So if you provide a clear path and you put things along the side, again, such as shrubbery, you're directing people. You're giving them that traffic flow, and people will tend to stick to that. Same thing here. Now, I'm not saying you have to be as elaborate as the person on the right, but you have created a flow for them. You've put natural barriers in there, whereas the other one, they can come from anywhere. And in the second one, you know where to look. So territorial reinforcement, again, that is just fences, walls, plants to mark your area. So you have natural and physical. So again, sidewalk. So this was a case that I worked on the right here, and they were having a lot of break-ins to cars in that business there. Can anyone see what might be the problem? Yeah, all the shrubbery, right? It's taking the sight lines. So cut that down, make it nice and those thick hedges that people don't want to actually like walk through, but take it down so you can actually see the sight lines, so they can be seen and you can see them. If you get graffiti, paint over it. If it comes back the next day, paint over it. It's a battle of wills. At some point, if they're doing graffiti, they want their artwork seen. They want their tags seen. If you constantly take it away, they are going to go somewhere else to do it. Lighting is very, very important. So my car, this is actually great timing. My car got broken into last week in my driveway. And, police are never around when you need them, right? So I'm like, I need better lighting. So I went out and got the brightest lights possible. So much so that my neighbor texted me and was like, hey, can you turn those? We're trying to sleep and we can't. And I'm like, just pull your curtain over. He's like, it is pulled over. So I have to figure something else out. But make sure you have lights. Light up the area. People do not want to be seen. Does anyone here have cameras? Most everyone has at least Ring cameras now. I would encourage people to have cameras, even if you buy a fake camera, because again, we're not dealing with masterminds here. They're not going to take the time to try to decide, especially at night, if that camera is real or not. Simply seeing that camera might be enough to push them on somewhere else. Again, so my house kind of looks like the one on the right now, but would you feel safe walking out of that house on the left? Think about what anyone could be doing around that property or to the vehicle that's in the picture that you can't see. Throw some extra lights out. So some before and after pictures here. You can see the top one, no lights at all. Now it's lit up. You think anyone's going to want to go cause any trouble? Probably not. Like I said, this is used now in pretty much every building design, every property design, but for the everyday user, it's just about lights, sight lines, security, and deterrence. Make sure your property is locked. I know you might come from a time where it was okay to leave things unlocked, and I know Ancaster is a very safe, quiet place, but make sure you are locking your doors, you are locking your sheds, you're locking your vehicles.
So we've, off the slides there, we touched on break-ins, homes, vehicle, and personal safety, distraction thefts. So they are on the rise. We've been seeing them more and more, different variations of it, but a lot of them are, that we're at least going unreported or even reported, are occurring at grocery stores, a lot of the malls and grocery stores. This is where I want to touch up on the purses. And if it's women or it's a 2026, so whatever you may be wearing, a European bag or purse, have it on you. So when we go to the grocery stores, young crowd, but I'm assuming they're probably not babies traveling with you guys too often anymore. That spot in that cart, no longer baby going there, but what does normally go there now? I see it at the grocery stores all the time. It is the purse. The purse goes right into that spot. And it's convenient because you're moving around, that bag's going to swing all over the place. But for individuals that are participating in distraction thefts know this. So what they're waiting for is watching how you're moving around, see that that purse is in that cart, which is making you the target. These individuals aren't traveling on their own. They're 1, 2, 3 person teams. Sorry, 2 or 3 person team, not one. And what they're looking for is when you go to point of payment, where you are pulling your card out from and where you're putting it back in. Now, there's a reason for that because they're not after the purse. They're after that card. They're going to see key in your PIN or how you utilize that card. Are you just tapping it or are you putting in the PIN? Once you do that, they're going to follow you outside. And just as you start loading up your vehicle, you pop that because a lot of people park in front first, right? We're not reverse parking. That was why we said another indicator we said was reverse park, because this will help you out when you go to these spots. But when you go to the grocery store, it's usually front of the vehicle first. Now, as you start loading you pop on with that trunk, you start loading your groceries. What's that last thing that's going to leave that cart? It's going to be that purse again. And they know this, it's the purse. But while you're loading, you're very busy, that purse is there. An individual, one of the ways they do this, I'm going to play a scenario for you, is an individual is going to walk up to you and say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I ran into you. I didn't have a pen and paper, but I hit your vehicle before I went in. I hit it right in the front. I just want to show you where this happened. So they're going to take you to the front of the vehicle. You're thinking, oh my God, this person's such a nice person. They stuck around. They're coming over here. They didn't have a pen and paper, and they made sure they were able to find me and let me know. They're going to have you walk to the front of the vehicle, and they're going to find this smallest scratch. We're right here, right down here. I hit you, and I know it's such a small mark, but I really felt bad. Is there any money I can give you? You're going to think, oh my gosh, like, don't worry about it. It's such a small scratch. I actually hit something earlier today, and there's a larger scratch on the side of this. Don't even worry about this scratch. And you're going to let this person off. But while you're having this conversation, the other individuals with your purse, and what do you think they're taking? Yes, they're not taking the purse. They're not taking the wallet. They're looking for that card. So they're going to go, they've already seen where you put that card. They're going to open up that wallet, take that card, zip everything back up, and be gone. Now, where do we usually go when we do our grocery shopping? Do we go anywhere else? It's usually straight home because we have that ice cream that's going to melt. We got that milk that's going to go sour. We have all these things that are going to go bad. So the next place we're likely going to is home. Now, I always wondered why my parents had clothes for 20 years straight. Now that I'm a parent myself, I realize I don't need to really buy new clothes. I'm not growing. I'm not shrinking. Nothing's really happening to me. So these clothes I've had, and I'm not ripping my pants up. I'm ripping my pants up the knees anymore like I used to as a kid. It's not happening anymore. So I'm not shopping anywhere anymore. So the next time I'm likely going to be using this is either to pump gas or to go grocery shopping again. So that card is going to go unnoticed for days, if not weeks, until the next time I use it. And they know this. And these individuals are going to use this card until the next time you go to use it, you may not ever know. Now, some people might say they have prompts that the banks have set up for you. So if you don't have this, please go to your banks and set this up. You can actually have, each time that your card is utilized anywhere, an email gets sent to you or a text message gets sent to you, which lets you know that your card is being used. Yes, it does get annoying because you're deleting all the time, deleting emails or whatever, but this is a layer of security you can put on your cards to ensure that you know when that card's being used in the case that it does get stolen or tampered with in any capacity. So that's one of the distraction thefts. Another one that was happening was the necklace one. I'm sure a lot of you saw it in the news, where somebody comes to sell you, tells you how they have a necklace, and then while they're doing all this, they take your real necklace and leave the other one hanging. But the one we're seeing a lot of is at the grocery stores, at the malls, when we're busy. And it's usually the grocery store is one place, but it does happen during Christmas and any usual large celebration times that people might be out there shopping, and they know this. Because it is a busy time and your hands are usually full with a lot of other stuff, and that's the perfect time to get individuals. Safe ways to buy and sell. So I don't know how many of you are aware. The Hamilton Police, I know people are doing a lot of online purchases at Facebook Marketplace and other online places. We do have transaction locations. One being up here, well, I guess in Division 3, not too far from here, right in front of the police station. So we have actual designated signs in front of our police station where you can have these transactions happen, and we have cameras set up that are facing those locations. Now, an individual that's going to be frauding you of anything is not going to meet you at a police station to begin with. But that being said, you never know when and who this person is going to be. So we suggest doing these transactions at the police stations, because that's one of the reasons we have these locations set up. Now, frauds, spoofing, scams, telephone, online. There's going to be a reoccurring thing, your spidey sense. So when something's too good to be true, it likely is. And that's with all frauds. Now, they're always changing. Has anybody gotten text messages for jobs that you haven't applied for, or won lotteries they haven't won, or phone calls for? Yeah, and that's what it is. We've always said that's what it looks like, but has anybody watched what was it, Jason Statham's movie there, Beekeeper? Has anybody ever watched it? It's actually, there you go, on Netflix, and you saw what it looks like. These are, when you receive these phone calls, has anybody ever received a phone call from any of these telemarketing types of frauds? Yes. Have you noticed that it's loud in the background? There sounds like there's other people talking. Individual might have a bit of an accent. And if it's one of my cousins, guys, please tell me to give me a call. I've been trying to get a hold of them for a while. Yeah, so these individuals, you'll hear it. And in that movie, actually, it showed it before Jason Statham, because it is an action movie, went off and started breaking everything, causing as much damage as the fraudsters probably are. It showed that it's call centers calling, and they're just making phone calls over and over again, looking for that 1 or 2 marks for the day. Because when they know they've got a hit or their hooks into somebody, it's usually in the hundreds and thousands of dollars, and they've made what they were looking to make for that day. Now, phone calls, you may get it, actually tax season's done, but tax time, CRA. When the CRA wants to get a hold of you, do they call you? How do you think? No, they never call. It is a registered letter that's going to get sent to your home. And when they want to get a hold of you, once again, another layer of security for that to ensure, because people could send you letters pretending to be CRA and try to trick you. Accessing your CRA account. Log on to your account, because any mail that's going to be sent to you will be posted on your CRA account. And that's one way of being able to verify it. But like everything, when you are trying to verify if something is real, you can always call them back yourself. You can contact the CRA to ensure that it's real. And when it even comes to, say, bank scams, same thing. When it comes to banks, if you receive something from your bank, overpayment or something in the mail, turn your card around, the number is right on the back. Call them and verify that it is actually them contacting you. Want to hit up on it? Grandparents?
Yeah, I'll give you all some tips. All right, so I sell a lot of stuff on Marketplace. Never pay for things in advance. So sometimes people are going to say, listen, you know, I have a lot of people interested. If you want me to reserve this for you, you're going to have to send me some money. And there are a lot of flakes on Marketplace that don't show up. So they might say something to the effect of, you know what, in order for me to hold this here for you, you have to send me some money first. Never, ever, ever do that. Always try to meet somewhere in public, all right? Can be a Tim Hortons, could be the police station, just somewhere where there's people around. I generally don't have people come to my house. If you absolutely must, I've heard that some people just give them their neighbor's address and stand out front of their neighbor's house when a person shows up. I don't recommend doing that, but those are some of the things that people do. Going back to telephone scams, they all operate on the same formula. So whether it's a CRA, whether it's you've won a prize, right? It's going to be you have a problem with something, you owe money, whether it's to a bank, whether it's to the CRA, you owe money. If you don't pay it, you're going to get arrested, you're going to get in trouble. And they just change the packaging on that. So that's one kind of scam. And then the other is the too good to be true. You've won something, you're getting this, this is free, enjoy your cruise, right? And those are the two types of scams. I'm going to tell you something right now. If anyone in your life wants money or information from you, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's family or friends, because they can scam you too. Every family's got one. Mine's my Uncle Jim. All right. If someone wants money from you, just take that extra minute and remember the very handsome police officer that gave you this presentation told you to take a second and actually what is really going on here. Do you have to talk to anyone? So if someone from the CRA calls you, do you have to talk to them? What do you think? No, you don't have to talk to anyone. You don't have to talk to the police if I call you and say, I want you to answer some questions. You can just hang up on me. You don't have to talk to anybody. So if it's your bank, if it's a friend, if it's a company, I don't care who it is. If they want money, all you have to do is be like, okay, thanks, I'll look into that. And then look up the actual number for that company or that institution and give them a call. And you can let them know you're doing this. And if they start saying things like, well, you know, I'm the caseworker, it's just going to take you longer, it's just going to send you back to me, I'm the one in charge. If they start saying things like that, then you know that's a red flag. What they should be saying is, that's great advice. You do that. Okay. So if anyone wants money from you, just take that extra second. Like my partner was saying, this is what they do. And it's going to sound like a call center. It's very noisy in the background. Someone generally with a super thick accent from somewhere in the world trying to say, my name's John Smith, again, should be a red flag that is going off. And you have to be careful, because does your bank have to give you your money back? No, they don't. They don't. And when you're shopping online, who here shops online? Yeah, everyone does, right? Everyone shops online. You know, how do you protect your credit card from getting compromised? You can get a second credit card that's just your online credit card, and you can set a low limit. Or you can be like me. I go to Shoppers. What's your day at Shoppers? Yeah, it's Thursday. I get my parents to get me stuff, right? So you get Visa gift cards. And then when you want to buy stuff online, you actually use the Visa gift cards. So your credit card never actually goes online, right? So there are little tricks you can do to try to protect yourself. If you're going to report suspicious activity by the non-emergency line. Oh, I saw a sigh there. This is good. Make sure you bring this up at the end. Yes. Okay. Love it. All right. So we have a non-emergency line that you can call. You can also report things online if you wish to. Report everything. I know some people, and we might get into it a bit later, which I'm here for. People are like, well, I call and nothing happens, or it takes too long. And sometimes, yeah, that actually is the case. But we do have use of that data when you make that report. All right. And we can touch on that a bit later, but please call us. If you don't call, then we never know what's going on. Then we can never compile the statistics to justify sending resources to that area. Right? So that's why letting us know is important. You might not get instant gratification at that time, but if you don't let us know, then we can't help you. So it's very important that you do report, and report anything. right? Some people are like, I don't want to bother them. Maybe this isn't really that big a deal. Just call. That's what we get paid to do. This is our job. Again, I appreciate it. Can be frustrating. I've had to call before and wait hours, and I work for the police, right? So that's just the way it goes sometimes. But we can't be everywhere at once. And now y'all are like our deputies. All right. You're part of the team now. Like, we can't do this without you, right? Him and I only got 4 eyes. I got you on the team. You know, we can actually do something together if we work together. It's not always going to be perfect, but we're going to do the best we can. So that's very, very important. I'm going to turn it over to my partner for the e-scooters because that's his main mode of transportation. So he's actually an expert in it.
Okay, so my understanding is that well, with the hot weather, with the summer weather, more and more e-scooters are out there, and the kids are zipping around all over. Now, we are working to get the messaging out there to parents on some of the rules that these kids should be following. E-bikes or e-scooters are treated under the Highway Traffic Act as bicycles. So they have certain rules that they're supposed to follow, but it's the exact rules as individuals on bicycles. So if they're on the roadways, they're supposed to be in the bike lanes. There's a specific speed that's designated to them. And if they were to go over that speed, if they were to be altered in any capacity, they can be fined for that. That being said, it's very likely going to be youth that are riding these things, and that's how they're being treated. So if they are issued a PON, so a public offense notices, which is under the Provincial Act, they're usually about, a lot of the fines do fall under about $75 to $110. If the youth doesn't have a driver's license and they end up being quite a bit younger, the ticket ends up being issued to their parents as they're responsible at that time. So helmets have to be worn. They can't have seats added to it. There's a lot of bylaw rules and so forth, but those are enforced when we could do so. But that being said, we don't have units strictly out for this. So instant results are not going to come from strictly from our traffic unit enforcing rules on the e-bicycles or e-scooters. We are going to be putting some information out shortly in the near future, in a week or so, through our public affairs office on social media, and we're going to be working to see if we can get us on the news in regards to it and get the information out there in regards to some of the ramifications in regards to e-scooters and e-bikes. But like I said, the results won't be from our traffic unit strictly. We just won't be able to push enough tickets out there in regards to that and get enough that where the information will get out there. So we're going to be pushing it through our other channels, which will be hopefully the tentacles from there will spread and get the information to where we need it to get to. Going back to frauds and so forth, there are tons of frauds out there. I know many of you guys have probably seen them. Like my partner said, they're all looking for information or money. Those are the two things they're looking for. If they can't get the money, they're looking for information. If they can't get the information, they're just trying to get to the money. And they just keep packaging it differently over and over again. There's a grandparent scam. If anybody ever gotten those phone calls yet? Yeah. So same thing. Does anybody know how they get this information? Are you guys aware of how it's not very, very complex, but we can get into that. So when somebody passes away, what goes out there? What do we all put out there? Obituary. Yes. And obituaries have tons of information. It's who they're leaving behind, their spouse, and then trickling down all the way down to the grandchildren, within their names. And they're usually around the age where they're going to be right on social media. And social media, what do they put on there? Anything and everything. Have any of you guys seen your grandchildren taking pictures of the food they're eating? They put everything on there. So it makes it very easy for scammers to do this. So when they find that, what they'll do, they find somebody that's passed away, find a name, we'll say C. Constanza. Let's say C. Constanza's passed away, and they leaves behind Marie. And so what they'll do is they'll pull up every single Costanza in the phone book or online 401, start making these phone calls and offering their condolences till they get the right person. Once they get that person, they know the number now, and then they're going to go back and start looking for information they need to have, which is their grandchildren's name, information, and where they might go to school and so forth. So if they were to go on social media, they might be able to figure out little George Costanza goes to Waterloo University, plays for the football team, and works at Subway. So they're going to make this phone call when you're probably not the most coherent, which is usually at night when you're sleeping. They'll call you around 1 a.m. to 2 a.m., make this phone call to you with an individual maybe pretending to be the police or the minor themselves, crying in tears. And they'll say, hey, grandma, I've just been arrested. I'm in the police station. I need bail money. Can you please send some money? And then they'll hand the phone over to the detective, who will now speak on the individual's behalf, saying that they're too emotional and they can't speak, and give you a little bit of information, just enough to make you believe that they're with the individual, saying that, hey, we're here with George. He was out with his football team a little late after he worked out at Subway and got himself into a little bit of trouble here in Waterloo, and he's asked for us to call you. We asked him to call his parents, but he explained how he'd been getting into a lot of trouble and really thought you could help him out this time, and that he'd like to tell his parents once he gets out of here on his own, because he'd be in I don't think they'd understand if he made that phone call right now. And that point, grandparents kick into action. One thing I've noticed now, having kids myself, people that raised me, my parents, are not the same parents that I see with my kids these days. They are completely different people. Now, my kids, when they get into trouble, I put them on a timeout one time. Put them on a timeout, and my mom said, "Why are you torturing them? What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, the amount of stuff I went through," and we won't say this because we're on video, the amount of stuff I went through growing up, I'm like, I would love to have stared at a wall. What I had to go grab before I got the spankings, it was ridiculous. They love their grandchildren. They treat them completely differently, and I'm assuming you guys do too. You love your grandchildren, and you will do anything for them. And the scammers know this, and they take advantage of that. So that's why they target the grandparents at this time. They'll target them and try to get them to send money and help their grandchildren, which is what they're looking for at that time. Now, there's other stuff too. So do you guys have Facebook, social media accounts? So there's one, I'll tell you, go through an incident where with myself, I was going onto Facebook. I haven't had Facebook for a very, very long time. So I was looking to open my Facebook account again, because I was having a conversation with my children of a youthful time in my life where I had a full thick head of hair where my fingers would get stuck in my hair. But I couldn't find any pictures, because at that time, I wasn't printing these pictures off. And I was like, where could I have kept all these pictures? It was my Facebook account. So I decided to go onto Google and type in Facebook help or hotline or help desk. Typed it in, and the first thing popped up, there was a number. I called it, got on the phone with an individual, and while having this conversation, the individual started asking, when I asked him to open up my account, because the Hotmail account that was attached to it, I no longer use the email account. It was 25 years ago that I used to have this. The individual kept asking to access my computer, wanted some information on my computer so that they could access it, so they could open the Facebook account. Once again, my spidey sense started tingling, because I'm like, I started asking questions. Why would you need access to my computer to access something that should be on your side? This individual was relentless, kept asking the same question, but in different ways to get me to see if I would budge into letting them get access to my computer. Obviously, I did not. And eventually they hung up, and I came to the realization, like, oh, wow, that was very tricky. On Google, the first search I made for Facebook help desk was a scammer, which goes to show you how much money is being made off these scams, that they were able to put that much money, because you buy and you pay to get further and further on those search bars, that this was the first search on there, that they were like right there. And I believed it, because who would have more money than Facebook? But this individual, or whoever this corporation this is that's making this money, had enough to push themselves right up to the top. And had I wanted those pictures bad enough, maybe I would have gone into that. But at a certain point, I'd just given up and said, hey, you know what? I've been bald my whole life. You know what? You guys can keep those pictures. But yeah, that's some of the scams that are out there. Is there anything else we could think of? Okay, yeah, do you know what? We'll, I think we've covered a lot of these, pretty much all these topics, and gone into others and personal experiences, but we'll open it up to questions then.